Hello my friends, and welcome back to Alien Protocols. This video I was very hesitant to do and release because I think it has information about the visitors that is dangerous to them, perhaps, or very revealing, or next level questions that could make them vulnerable. But us learn more about them. And everyone who knows anything about this channel and me knows that the only thing I think is rational is peaceful communication. And it's going to be the most profitable in every way. And of course, our first natural instinct is fear of something stronger or a threat. But we should not always try to tame everything more powerful than us. Anyway, by denying us the truth about disclosure, we are being denied asking many of the next really important questions. And these are some of those questions, and I'm going to share them regardless because I think it's important for us as citizens and researchers to think about these things and innovate and come up with ideas and be the peaceful first utilizers, because certainly the government has thought about many of these already and possibly is using them for more offensive means, or other countries are. And I think we're wise enough to know you will learn a little bit from a broken watch. You will learn more from a whole watch. But you'll learn much more from communicating peacefully with the watchmakers. So, in that spirit, here are some of these ideas. We know on some level that they have to use an active radar system to move around, to go places, to navigate. They have to have either an active radar system or sensor system in some way. It could be, conceivably, from a distant satellite doing surveillance on us. Pre-programmed information is another option. Their data could be so sophisticated they could calculate the rotation and pre-establish everything. But in some way, they still probably would have to have a sensor system on board to navigate where they are in some way. And likely also, additionally, some sort of communication system. Some way, means, physical, real means of communication in some sort of system. And we could look at all sorts of things. You know, we just found the gravimetric spectrum, and it goes all the way from very low waves to very high waves. There's a lot of possibilities there. We know there's another field associated with this stuff, the PSI stuff, that unifies everything. It's very possible they're using that field. So now we move on to other important questions about the craft. Data. Where is their data from? They have data, they hold data about all sorts of different things, the craft and, of course, the occupants. Is this an active communication? Is it from a cloud? Is all this data pre-programmed and stored? Is everything sentient? Where is it stored? Is it stored in a cloud? Is it stored on board? Is it stored in a brain? These are important questions and could be vulnerabilities. All of these things. We know that infrared makes them appear when they're using their nano invisibility, essentially. We know that it basically blocks out our spectrum. It's latticed in this fractal way, structured, so that it really blocks out the visual spectrum. But still, we've seen time and time again that infrared cameras will catch it when the visual part of the electromagnetic spectrum won't. And I'm highly suspicious that the ultraviolet will also capture it. And that we have a lot of cameras now that are infrared. We should also add the UV, because they're going to respond to our technology. And if they get caught too many times on IR, they're probably going to move that bandwidth and make the material more sophisticated. I don't think they do more technologically, than they need to a certain degree, in terms of expense and things like that. So that's a big consideration. Thing to think about. This is another one that's got to be true on some level. There are going to be space routes. There are going to be routes that they would choose. based on a whole variety of different considerations. These would be routes, trajectories coming into the solar system. These would be routes and trajectories coming into the planetary system. These would be routes and trajectories in our atmosphere. And these would also be geotopological routes close to the ground. So these are a lot of different routes that could be speculated on. We could project efficiencies. We could have space navigation and trajectory experts look at logical, neat options. So these are a lot of different corridors that could be examined and projected, and all sorts of things, information, possibilities could come from that. We could set up a communication system at a lot of these different places. Now, we know that there are unique locations that they go to repeatedly. Of course, you can be certain the government is already doing this, especially from that one special medical paper that said a lot of people were injured and had these radiation and brain damage from encounters with craft. These were military, and they were, quote, bivouacked at certain military locations. And of course, these are the repeat locations of UFO encounters. And this was that medical report about the brain damage and the gray spots. And many of the people, I think half the people, or some incredible number who were within like 50 feet or 30 feet of the craft or something, died within 2 weeks. This is major important information we don't like talking about, but there's consequences to this that could be utilized and understood for better relations. We could set up unique ground communication spots where if they come through these corridors, we set up peaceful requests for attention and communication. We have to teach these machines and these different devices and whoever's manning these locations how to do the protocols. Because if you don't know the right steps, the communication usually stops at 2 mimicries. It's throughout UFO history. Someone will flash twice, they will flash twice, and if the humans don't know the next steps, then they get bored very quickly and leave. Because they realize the time it would take for meaningful communication is too much out of their mission. They're very efficient, as you could imagine. We could try a full-on close encounters major effort with a bunch of different types of lasers and lights in the most enlightened team and all the different effects and things that we know work, and make a big, beautiful invitation, set it up wonderfully. All the consciousnesses and intent would be prime for this peaceful, grand, first official meeting, peaceful meeting. We could try things like that. So there's a lot of these things that, by being denied the truth about craft and the visitors, we're being denied all these next important questions. So I still say to the countries that are hoarding these technologies that have been crashed in their countries on purpose, to weaponize them, could really think that their national security is actually best served by revealing this material. We are actually safer revealing this material, because this material, its most powerful thing about the material, like I love to say, is that it's the only real physical proof that we are not alone in the universe, that there are others. We've got space brothers and sisters, and they're obviously peaceful for the most part. And it is an absolute wonderful whole new world for us to explore. And it would cause a peaceful thought to ring across the globe. Because if we weaponize these materials from these crashes, we will have hypersonic, invisible to all radar and everything, metamaterial, nuclear weapons, and weapons of all kinds. So the most powerful thing is that the material is real, physical, undeniable proof that we are not alone. I love you guys. We need disclosure, and it needs to come from within. I think they've done their part, right? Maybe? Well, love you guys, and let's talk soon.